Inside a lavish California mansion, morning sunlight streamed through towering windows, casting golden rays across Italian marble floors. The light danced off crystal chandeliers and bounced against priceless paintings that adorned every wall. Everything spoke of wealth, power, and absolute perfection. To the outside world, David Parker, a 42-year-old real estate mogul, had built the ultimate dream life. His name graced skyscrapers across 3 states, his portfolio worth hundreds of millions. But behind those glittering marble floors, something far darker lingered in the air like invisible poison. His mother, Margaret Parker, once the vibrant heart of their family, once full of infectious laughter and gentle wisdom, now sat quietly in a plush velvet chair by the window. Her hands trembled slightly as they rested in her lap. Her eyes, once bright with intelligence, now held a distant fog that grew thicker each passing day. Her memory was fading piece by piece, like pages torn from a beloved book. Margaret, at 78 years old, was battling the heavy, suffocating fog of dementia. She would wander through rooms calling out for Henry, her beloved husband who had passed away 3 winters ago. Henry, where are you? We're going to be late for dinner, she would whisper, clutching the pearl necklace he had given her on their wedding day. Holding her steady through this devastating journey was Ana Rodriguez, the housekeeper who had worked for the Parker family for 15 years. 56 years old, with graying hair pulled back in a simple bun, Anna might have been invisible to most visitors. But she was far from ordinary. Soft-spoken yet unshakable, Anna's devotion came from something deeper than any employment contract, genuine love for a family that had become her own. Anna spent endless hours sitting beside Margaret, her weathered hands holding Margaret's trembling ones, reminding her gently of where she was and who loved her. "Mrs. Parker," Anna would say softly, "you raised the most wonderful son. David loves you so much. You were a teacher for 30 years, remember? You helped so many children learn to read." But within the mansion also lived someone whose presence had begun to poison the very air they breathed. Sophie Delacroix, David's 34-year-old fiancée, was everything society expected from a wealthy man's partner. Tall and elegant, with platinum blonde hair always styled to perfection, she looked like she had stepped out of a fashion magazine. Beautiful and adored by high society, Sophie sparkled at cocktail parties and charity galas. She knew exactly what to say, when to laugh, and how to make herself the center of attention. Yet when the spotlight dimmed and the last guest departed, Sophie's mask would slip away like a snake shedding its skin. Her charm ended precisely where patience began. To Sophie, Margaret was nothing more than an embarrassing burden, an obstacle in her path to the perfect life she had planned. She had already picked out new furniture for Margaret's room, furniture better suited for a nursing home, she would tell David. The tension in the house grew thicker each day. Margaret's gentle confusion and innocent questions clashed violently with Sophie's growing irritation. Simple questions from a place of love and confusion were met with icy glares and cruel responses. "Where is my husband? We were supposed to go to the market today," Margaret would ask, her voice small and uncertain. Sophie's responses were daggers wrapped in silk. "Your husband isn't coming back. Stop asking the same stupid questions over and over again." Her words, though spoken softly, carried poison that only Margaret could feel in her wounded heart. Each sigh, each eye roll, each impatient glance from Sophie chipped away at Margaret's fragile peace, like hammer blows against delicate glass. But Anna stood firm against this cruelty, like a lighthouse against crashing waves. Whenever Sophie's heartlessness struck, Anna was there with kindness that seemed to glow from within her soul. "You don't need to worry about anything, Mrs. Parker," Anna would whisper, smoothing Margaret's hair. "I'm here. You're safe. You're loved more than you could ever know." One quiet Tuesday afternoon, David left for what he called the most important business meeting of his career. He was finalizing a deal that would add $50 million to his fortune. He kissed Sophie goodbye, straightening his silk tie. "This meeting could change everything, darling." Sophie smiled her practiced smile. "I'll be waiting, my love." Don't keep success waiting too long. As David's Bentley disappeared down the driveway, the mansion fell into afternoon quiet. Margaret sat in her favorite chair by the window, watching birds at the feeder Anna had placed outside. Her eyes held that distant look that meant she was somewhere else entirely, perhaps 40 years in the past. Anna was in the kitchen, preparing Margaret's afternoon tea, chamomile with honey, the way Margaret had always loved it. Margaret, drawn by some half-remembered routine, wandered slowly into the grand dining hall. Something about the room called to her, perhaps the way afternoon light hit the mahogany table where her family had shared so many meals. Looking directly at Sophie, who was scrolling through her phone, Margaret asked with heartbreaking innocence, "Excuse me, dear, could you please tell me when my husband will be home? We have dinner plans tonight." The question hung in the air like delicate crystal about to shatter. For a split second, Sophie's perfectly composed face froze. Then, like a dam bursting, all the venom she had been storing inside came flooding out. With cutting cruelty, she looked up and said, "Your husband is dead. He has been dead for 3 years. He's never coming home. Why don't you understand that? Why can't you get it through your head that he's gone forever?" Her voice was sharp as broken glass, merciless as a winter storm. Each word was calculated to wound, to break, to destroy what little peace Margaret had found. Margaret's face crumbled like a building collapsing in slow motion. The light in her eyes died completely. Her frail body seemed to fold in on itself as she sank heavily into the nearest chair. Her hands trembled violently, reaching out as if trying to grasp something that was no longer there. Tears that had been building behind her confused eyes finally broke free, rolling down cheeks that had once been kissed by Henry every morning for 52 years. Sophie turned away with disgust, rolling her eyes as if Margaret's pain was nothing more than an annoyance. "Honestly," she muttered, "how much longer is this going to go on?" But Anna, who seemed to have an invisible connection to Margaret's heart, heard the sharp words from the kitchen and rushed into the room like an angel appearing exactly when needed. She took in the scene instantly: Margaret's devastation, Sophie's cold indifference, the cruelty hanging in the air like smoke. Without hesitation, Anna knelt beside Margaret's chair, taking her trembling hands in her own work-worn ones. "Mrs. Parker," Anna whispered softly, "you are safe. You are here at home. You are loved more than all the stars in the sky. Your husband loved you with his whole heart. That love doesn't die just because he's not here anymore." Anna guided Margaret gently toward the kitchen, wrapping her in a soft blanket that smelled like lavender. She prepared tea with extra care and sat with her until her tears stopped falling. The house had become divided like a kingdom split by war. Sophie's mask had cracked beyond repair. Her cruelty could no longer be hidden. Anna, treated as furniture by most visitors, had revealed herself to be the true heart of the home. When David returned that evening, his mind buzzing with excitement from his successful deal, he expected the usual perfect scene, but instead he walked into the aftermath of emotional devastation. He saw his mother's tear-stained face, Anna's protective arms around Margaret, and Sophie standing apart, cold as marble, scrolling through her phone as if nothing had happened. In that instant, David's entire world shifted. The illusion shattered like glass hitting concrete. The woman he thought he loved revealed a heart as empty as the champagne flutes she posed with at parties. Anna looked up at him, her eyes reflecting both sadness and protective fury. "Mr. David," she said quietly, "we need to talk." That night, after Anna explained what had happened, after David held his mother while she cried, he made the most important decision of his life. He called off the engagement. The confrontation was swift and final. Sophie showed no remorse, only anger at being judged for being honest. "You're choosing a confused old woman over me?" she spat, her beauty twisted by ugly anger. "I could have given you everything: status, connections, the perfect life." "You're right," David said quietly. "You could have given me everything except the one thing that actually matters: a heart." Sophie walked out that night, her heels echoing on marble floors for the last time. But her absence didn't leave emptiness. It brought peace, like opening windows after a suffocating summer.